Thanks for tuning in to episode 92, where this week we have 3 80s slashers starring horror icons Clu Gulager from Return of the Living Dead and Nightmare on Elm Street 2, the one and only Linda Blair, and a giant pink penis right here, only on
I Know What You Watched Last Week.
Great week. I mean, people would consider these kind of third tier slasher movies, but as we all know, that makes it top tier in the world of film because horror is the greatest genre ever conceived. So what did we get through?
We started the week with The Initiation.
From 1984.
Then we moved on to a very similar plot. Fright Night.
No.
Hell Night.
Fright Night's got vampires. Hell Night's got Linda Blair.
As soon as it came out of my mouth, I was like, wait, no. Okay, so Hell Night.
From 1981.
And finally...
Get it right.
Yeah, slightly different Fade to Black.
Yeah, starring Eddie Kaspbrak from the It TV movie. I've forgotten the guy's name at the minute. Dennis Christopher, I think. Something like that. I'll look it up. And before we get into him though, I just want to say great performance by him, I thought. I don't know what you think about the movie, but let's get more of an idea with your rankings.
Yeah, it might be a bit boring to go with mine because honestly, I thought all 3 of these were kind of on a par.
Right.
So I guess if I had to rank them, I'll probably go with third place, The Initiation. Second place, Fade to Black. And first place, not Fright Night, Hell Night.
I did find it hard to rank because I liked all these films. I'm going to go third place, Hell Night, second place, Fade to Black, and top of the pile, The Initiation.
Interesting.
Yeah, of course we're going to go in my order. Hell Night, starring the one and only Linda Blair.
Yeah.
In a slasher film. Yeah.
Yes. And the whole thing was done in what I can only assume is a Halloween costume thing, or was it just a random costume party, do you think?
I could work out what 3 of them were. I couldn't work out what Jeff was. Because Linda Blair's Little Red Riding Hood.
Yes.
Then Seth is Robin Hood.
Mm-hmm.
And we also had Denise as kind of like a cha-cha girl.
Is that what she was?
I think that's what I'm going to call it.
I mean, she spent a lot of it just in her lingerie, so the costume wasn't on
1920, she had the headband with like the rose on it.
So a flapper.
Things like that. Yeah, a flapper. Yeah, it looks like she was being Boardwalk Empire. And yeah, Jeff, I just don't know, just like an old-timey guy is what I could tell.
There was a guy dressed as a pirate as well who had a parrot on his shoulder. Recall that?
I don't think that's Jeff though.
No.
But this does open with, of course, it's college kids. It's a party.
It is a party.
And the leader of the fraternity, Peter, spots a girl at the bar, walks over to her first thing, starts to chat her up. All of a sudden, Peter's like sidekick comes along and he's like, hey, show a little more class. This is a sophomore. And the sophomore goes, I'm going to show a lot more than class. And Scott's a bit taken aback by that. He wasn't expecting to see boobs at the 1980s fraternity initiation party.
Wasn't he, though?
Shame on him, is what I'd say.
That seems pretty obvious.
At the same party, we've got Seth. We're introduced to Seth dressed as Robin Hood, and he's next to his mate, and they're scoping all the babes. And Seth's mate says, oh, look at her. She's new. Looking at Linda Hamilton. No, that's Terminator. Linda Blair. And Seth's like, no, Linda Blair's not really my bag, baby, but cha-cha girl, the flapper.
Denise.
Yeah, she's everyone. So this fraternity is called Alpha Sigma Rho, and to become a member of Alpha Sigma Rho, you have to spend a night in Garth Manor where there was murder of a family and eventually suicide because it was the father killing all the kids.
This was such a non-PC explanation.
It's so non-PC that when I was writing my notes, a couple of the words didn't turn up in the library, so I had to write them out myself. So the story goes, according to Peter, that there's, so as I said, murdered family and suicide. And the first guy is the first son they had, these Garth parents, was a mongoloid son named Raymond. Then they had a daughter, because they were disappointed with him, because he's a mongoloid. Had a daughter called Suzanne, who is hideously deformed and freaks her father out further by dragging herself along on her one good leg. So
In fact, she was so hideously deformed that they couldn't tell if she was female or male.
I think, was that her or the next one, Margaret, who was deaf, dumb and blind?
Possibly.
One of them. And then finally we had Andrew, the silent Gork. Gork wasn't in the library, and he's been silent for 14 years. Didn't speak a word once he was born. So at that point, Mr. Garth had enough of these kids, so he decided to off them all, kill his wife, and then commit suicide. So that's what we got here. But it is rumoured that the 14-year-old Gork, just the 14-year-old Gork Andrew, is still roaming the halls of Garth Manor.
I thought it was that, so Gork wasn't killed and he had to deal with the whole thing of seeing his whole family offed, but that they only found 3 bodies. So actually there's 2 who may have survived this, and they're said to still be living there.
Yeah. Maybe that's more spot on.
However many years ago, though.
When Peter's telling all his story,
yeah.
and he's looking down on the sorority girls and the frat bros, he like starts telling the story, and Denise is there. She's giggling, and Peter's like, "Why are you giggling? You shouldn't be giggling." She's like, "Oh, sorry, I'm a little bit inebriated." And he's like, "You're not gonna try and sneak in any more booze into Garth Manor, are you? Because otherwise, I'll have to search you." To which Denise is like, "With pleasure." So this is the kind of film that we get, standard 80s slasher. This is also produced by Owen Yablans, as was Fade to Black, who, of course, famously was one of the major producers on Halloween. That's why in Fade to Black we see the poster of Halloween and Tourist Trap.
So that's why
around
I recognize
everywhere.
the name.
Yeah, there's a couple of Yablans.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, there's no gas, electricity, or a phone in the house. Of course, it's pre-internet as well, so there's none of that either. So being given that information, it is time for Seth, Jeff, Denise, and Marty is Linda Blair, to go in to Garth Manor to spend the night. So you got, 4 sorority sisters and frat bros. I reckon there's going to be probably like some sex and murder.
What a surprise that would be.
That's
and also,
what I was expecting.
Isn't, what's he called? Robin Hood. Isn't
Seth.
he really lucky? Because it's the chick that he pointed out that's
Denise.
just his type, who he happens to be locked down with.
Denise was also coming to Peter, though. She was like, "Oh, you can search me." So it's just...
Well, she was kind of coming on to anyone.
Just seems that she'll go with anybody.
Yeah.
So she's picked between Jeff and Seth
So
and gone with
Seth is
Seth.
even more lucky.
Maybe she has a thing for Robin Hood.
Whereas clearly Linda Blair's character is going to be a lot more...
Virginal.
Yes, I was going to say prudish, but that wasn't quite the right word.
As they're walking into the house, they start rehashing the story to themselves, kind of thing. And Seth mentions, "We better get inside because my ball bag is freezing." To which Denise is like, "I'll keep you warm." So she's also
Just putting it out there.
open to the whole ball bag thing as well. So that's good. Into the house we go. Turns out Denise, she has cocaine, Quaaludes, Jack Daniels, and music.
The tiniest little speaker I've ever seen.
I'm not even entirely sure what it was. I'm trying to think, what is this?
It was just like a
this
tiny
apparatus?
little black box that came from between her cleavage.
That's how small it is, yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen something from the 80s at least. I thought everything was bigger in the 80s.
She also mentions that, the cocaine and the quality Colombian, as she puts it, some of it got taken off her during the search. So apparently Peter has searched her, but not very thoroughly, because she's still got some cocaine, to which Seth goes, "Whoa, this is one radical chick." I like that. Seth, recently, as our trash TV watching, we're going through a bit of a Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And the actress Lisa Rinna? Mm-hmm. Do you remember her husband from it? He's got kind of like slick black long hair.
Yeah.
That's Seth.
No.
That's Seth, yeah.
No way.
Seth with probably the best performance in the movie.
That's... Wow, okay. I would never have
Get
put
out
those
here, you
two
fat
together.
whore.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
coming,
that's
you
music.
fat whore. That's Lisa Rinna in Entourage. That's what I know her from. Good scene. So yeah, she's got all the drugs then, and she kind of like walks away, flirtily, stands by the stairs, kind of like shows off her leg, and Seth's like, "Oh!" Then he chases her up the stairs, and she's like giggling. Yeah, to be fair, that is like real life, because when I chase you up the stairs, you're always scared.
Yeah, but I'm not doing it in a, "Hoo, hoo, hoo, catch me, catch me." I'm like, stop freaking me out. It's the feeling of being chased, even though I know there's nothing dangerous. It's just like a natural response of being chased when
But when we lived in the flat, I used to chase you up the stairwell in broad daylight where there are massive windows and you were still scared.
Yeah, that's not the point. Like I said, I know it's you, and it's just like a natural gut reaction to being chased.
I'm scary. So them two have gone off. Seth and Denise have gone off upstairs. So they left Marty and Jeff downstairs by the fire. What I like about this is there's a lot of candles in this movie, and I also really enjoy that it was all shot at night. There's not one, actually, apart from the very ending when the sun is rising, it's all shot at night time, which I'm always an advocate for.
Yeah, we did see Linda going around lighting these candles, but I was thinking again, because we've seen quite a few movies, and you've mentioned when I've complained that, like, who's been lighting all these candles. Mm-hmm. Yes, it looks beautiful, but I still feel like either you've got to do what they did here, which is show someone actually lighting them, or it's got to be some kind of supernatural thing, because having done a lot of candle lighting for our short film, it takes a long time.
It does take a long time, and if more than kind of like one or two go out, you've got to pop them back up, because otherwise it shows. But I'm insistent on candles. There will be plenty of candles in Heathen Legionnaires. So we have to get like a candle wrangler, if that's what you want to call it.
Someone who's just employed to
light candles, and you will be paid. Probably a pittance, but you will be paid. Right, so now that Seth and Denise are upstairs, they've gone straight to the bedroom, of course, and Denise is out of her dress, so she's just in her stockings and suspenders and her bra. And Robin Hood, Seth, he's found a bow and arrow.
He brought one in with him. It was part of his costume.
So it's part of his costume. He's decided this is the best time to start using it, so he shoots a couple of things in the room, then he takes a look and he notices Denise bending over, and he's like, pew! And it hits her pretty hard on the butt.
Yes.
It was a hard arrow shot, and then he just launches himself at her on the bed.
Well, also, Denise, she's probably, as far as I can tell, she's barely spoken to Seth. They haven't kissed, they haven't done anything. She's just, been chased up the stairs, and next thing you know, she's making the bed in her lingerie. I mean, it's no surprise that when the two of them are in bed, and she says, "Ooh, talk to me, Seth." He's like, "What are you saying, woman? You just egged me on, and now all you want to do is talk?"
Yeah, that was a strange 180, that one, wasn't it?
He got really pissed about it.
I mean, he was so confident of his chances that he decided he could even shoot her in the arse with a bow and arrow, and that's not going to ruin anything, kind of thing. She wasn't best pleased about that. So instead, she starts asking Seth about what his life is. And then we get surfing explained in your pants.
Yeah. Above her, bed surfing, and she's very much enjoying it, not only for his commitment, which was exceptional.
Stellar commitment.
But also because she keeps finding sexual innuendos with everything he says.
Yeah, he mentions his 18-inch board.
Ooh, 18 inches.
Then he mentions that it only takes him like 2 or 3 strokes to get out to sea. She's like, oh, 2 or 3 strokes, not long then. Yes, Denise. Like Denise. So Linda Blair as Marty, and Jeff, they're now downstairs. They've kind of like, I wouldn't quite call it a heart-to-heart, getting to know each other as well. And it turns out she's a mechanic. They just have to throw it in there that Linda Blair is a mechanic.
But also, this led to nowhere when she has a go at him, essentially, for being rich. She's like, "Oh, where are you from?" And he mentions it. She's like, "Oh, you must be rich then." He's like, "What's so bad about being rich?" And she's like, "Well, the rich always take advantage of the poor." And so it didn't go anywhere, did it? The fact that he's rich.
No, but
it literally meant nothing.
Let's just pop that in there.
Yeah.
Giving her a rounded character. She's a mechanic, and she's concerned about
the plight of the poor.
Poverty. Absolutely. So that's why we can relate to her, because she's doing, white collar work, and she's got a caring heart. While this is happening, all of a sudden some screams start to make themselves known from around Garth Manor. Like cries of anguish. We hear that, and we're taken outside, and wouldn't you know, there's a bit of hijinks going on, because this is an initiation into a frat and a sorority. So outside we've got the leader Peter, joined by Scott, and they've got a girl called May with them, and they're talking about what they're going to do to freak out the people inside. They seem to have like this kind of like projector thing. They've
seriously committed to this prank. They've got the whole house rigged up. They've got speakers for these said screams. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And May is somewhat complaining, because she's a woman. She's complaining that she's, I want to get straight to the action. Scott doesn't take too kindly for this, tells her to get the hell out of here. And Scott's like, "We should have left her behind." To which Peter says, "What are you talking about? Her behind is the best part of her. We should have left the rest of her behind." That's writing. That is your 80s standard writing. Shouldn't have left the rest of her. All of a sudden, May is by herself. Mm-hmm. She's dragged underground.
Yeah, I didn't get this. Was there like 2 underground holes? Because I swear she got dragged into a hole and then she got dragged into another hole.
I think there were a lot of underground
lot of
holes because people are also later on coming up through holes inside the house and things like this. And when she's taken down into the hole, she's then decapitated. Good stuff.
Yeah.
More cries are heard in the house. Linda Blair is now subject to the hijinks going on outside.
Yeah, with the ghost, right?
Yeah.
So she's in a room by herself and they've got a projected ghost coming towards her. And they've also managed to rig up the house so that the doors lock and unlock on command. So they've locked her into the room. Yeah, very scary. But at least she knows that, because they found the speakers by this point, she knows that they're just being tricked.
Yeah, she doesn't seem, even though she utters the words, I'm scared, she doesn't seem to be that scared. Managed to get out of the room, she bumps into Seth and Jeff, and we're back outside, and all of a sudden Scott's by himself. He starts to hear noises in the forest, see him walking around the forest for a long time, until eventually he thinks it's Peter. He's like, Peter, Peter, but he comes to one of, the Mongoloid children or something like that, and has his head twisted around.
Yes.
Goodbye, Scott. That's what you get for playing pranks.
Yeah, to be fair, I hate pranks.
Practical you do hate
jokes
pranks,
are not, no. They end badly so often.
Is this why you don't like TV shows like Jackass? I know it's not practical jokes and stuff like that, but, dares.
Dumbness.
Yeah, I love dumbness.
Yeah, I know you do.
Says woman who put Ouija Shark 2 top of the rankings last
week.
That
was great.
Yeah. Jeff and Linda Blair are now decided to turn in. They're like, it's time for bed, kind of thing. Linda gets into bed and she says, oh, I suggest you do the same thing. There are 2 beds there. Jeff, of course, has got to try his luck. So he walks over to Linda Blair's bed and she's like, no, the other bed. She certainly wasn't hoping he was going to say that. She was going to say that, was he?
No, he wasn't.
I think he was more hoping she was going to say, lick me! Because it's Linda Blair. She's got previous for that.
Oh my goodness.
There's now a knock. There's a knock at Denise's room. And she crawls out of bed. Sleeping in her lingerie. As all women should. Stockings, suspenders all that stuff. And she's got a pair of high heels right next to the bed, which she slipped herself into.
I did find that
to get around the house
very
easier.
bizarre throughout this whole film, was that the women kept putting their high heels on to get around, and I was like, why? Like, unless there's spikes coming up out the floor everywhere, why wouldn't you just go barefoot? It seems like
maybe it was at the insistence of Owen Yablans, because there were no high heels as far as I can recall in Halloween. So this is the way to amp it up. There's now kind of like lots of walking around the house, and characters in a kind of slowish manner, because there's lots of walking around inside and outside, start to be off. So we've got Scott, who's beheaded, right, after he's pulled his prank. We said he's dead. Peter is scythed through the stomach. That was good. It's like nice gory deaths in this, I thought. And now Marty has decided, after, don't try it on with me, she decided that actually, no, I am going to get on with Jeff. She is. She's just going to do it. So that didn't take long.
I couldn't sleep. What do you do when you can't sleep?
Yeah, I mean, a good unloading will relax you, certainly.
Well, it was her. I don't think she's going to unload.
Well, Jeff's gonna sleep well, even though they're in Garth Manor. Lots of candles again. No, great choice. Seth and Denise are also out in the bed, just rolling around together. They're just rolling around on the bed in their pants.
They're probably on like their 3rd round. He's just recuperating.
I'm not sure they have done it yet. I'm not quite sure they have. Maybe they're just high on cocaine. That's why there's loads of rolling around, kind of thing. And then all throughout the movie so far, Denise has been getting Seth's name wrong.
Yeah.
She's been calling him all these other names. Like, how many more times have I got to tell you? My name is Seth. She doesn't care what his name is, right? She just cares about his appendage. And he's like, oh, after all this rolling around, hey, I've just got to go to the John. And she says, John, I thought your name was Seth.
Oh, wait,
what a joke.
It. She's British.
Yeah, I was getting
that's
like kind of
why.
like British Australian.
Yeah, she was not American. So that's why that joke, well, it didn't work. But you know what I mean. That's what
even
set it up.
Seth had enough at that point. Like, he hears that joke and he just kind of like, I'm going to the bathroom. I don't care how hot you are. I don't care what you're dressed in.
That's why I think he's already done it
Can't
once.
take it anymore. Yeah. While he goes off to the bathroom, a lingering perv comes out of the darkness and just starts hanging over Denise. And then she's attacked. As she's attacked, Seth comes out from the John.
Yes.
and he finds her decapitated head.
It's not hers.
On the
it's
bed.
the other girl's, the one who went missing first.
Is it now?
Yeah, because...
Either way, I really like that decapitated head. All
I
the
was
colour
waiting
was
to
drained
see
out
what would
of it.
happen with her. Yeah, he gets into bed, finds the other girl... Because he says, he runs down to Linda Blair and the other guy, and he says, you know, I went to the toilet, I came back, and the chick I was with is gone, and some other chick's decapitated head is in there. Very Godfather, right?
Maybe. That was nice. I did like that decapitated head on the bed sheets. That was a good decapitated head.
It also shows that the Mongoloids are...
The Gorks.
Not just offing people, they're also playing with them, aren't they? Because otherwise, why else would they go to the trouble of taking that head, putting it there?
It kind of sounds like they only get one night a year to play around, though.
Okay, this was
Once
my
pleasures
other
come in.
point. I was like, clearly, so the eldest one, or the youngest one, was 14 when these murders happened, right? And now they are clearly fully grown adults.
Werewolves.
And yet, every single year, this frat sorority goes to the same place to do the same prank.
Garth Manor.
And yet, this is the first time that people are being murdered.
Maybe the other pledges were more savvy and not preoccupied with chasing each other and rolling around and stuff. Could you believe that?
Maybe it was the fact that they brought, you know, contraband into the building that pissed off the dudes.
Yeah, because college kids aren't known for doing that.
Yeah, you're not supposed to bring booze, drugs,
No, Peter's already said this. So of course now this is going on, it's panic stations. So the three of them run outside, Seth, Jeff and Marty. Seth decides to climb the gate. He's going to go for help. He goes to climb that. And of course then Marty has a go at climbing the gate, but because she's a puny little girl in 1981, she can't do it. Obviously.
Well, also, have none of these people ever heard of a boost? Like, they were just struggling, like, unless the guy just wanted to touch her ass and didn't really care about surviving the night.
Hey, you picked up on that. That was a good idea. If I am going to be taken apart by 4 murdered children, I'm at least going to grab Linda Blair's bum. Why then do Marty and Jeff go back inside the house? Because they're outside at this point. They could have just stayed outside, where I feel like you have better vision, you know, straight in front of you, left and right, because it's big grounds. So if you see someone coming and hear something, you can go left and go right. If they're coming towards you, you can go backwards and vice versa.
Well, also another question, why didn't they just walk the perimeter and maybe find a tree that they could climb and get over the wall as
They're
well?
all hopped up on coke and quaaludes.
Well, they're not, are they?
Who knows?
Linda Blair's way too good.
I don't know, she gave it up like that after saying no. So she's only putting it on the front, possibly. She hasn't got any mechanic work to do.
Oh no, that's why they go back inside, because Denise, whose head you thought was in the bed, but it's not her head, Denise is just missing at this point. So they're like, we have to go and find her. That's why they go back in the house.
Well, respect to them for the caring. Seth, he manages to make his way to the police station because he's been drinking and, you know, he's all muddy. He's got blood on him as well.
He's dressed as Robin
Hood. The cops obviously don't believe him.
No, they're like, this fraternity is always, you know,
playing pranks on us. Yeah, so the surly cop doesn't believe him. Linda Blair and Jeff are holed up in their bedroom. I think it's going to be like reasonably quiet time for them, but then in the background, and I saw you have a look, a sheet starts to rise from the floor, which is clearly covered in a human being.
Yeah, I didn't really get this bit, but...
What's to get? It's one of the 4 children.
Why are they covered in cloth?
Because the sheet was on the floor to hide the hole, which luckily Marty and Jeff haven't accidentally stepped into when they're in the bedroom the whole time.
Right, okay, yeah, that does make sense. But also, by this point, what did you say, Jeff?
Jeff, yeah.
Jeff has found a pitchfork. So when Marty realises that there's some looming shadow behind her, he jumps up and pitchforks this body. The body falls down, pitchfork poking out. But then after he goes and Jeff pulls the pitchfork out of the body, they then move the cloth back and see that the hole is there and there's no body.
No.
Just a trail of blood.
Because this isn't this is the 1980s. You can't just kill your antagonist with just one shot to the
They always
stomach.
have to be supernatural.
These guys kind of are supernatural, aren't they? They've been there for a long time.
Yeah.
And they've got myth behind them and stuff.
And they survive a pitchforking.
So now Jeff and Linda, they decide it's probably best not to stay in the bedroom because nowhere's safe.
Jeff and Marty.
And they end up in these kind of like caves and they're running around and they end up in this room, cave room, where there's like a dinner table and we've got Denise sitting there. And the thing is, she had a slit throat. What I thought was happening is that they just put her head back on top of her neck. That's what I thought was going on there. And, you know, two other really decrepit old bodies covered in cobwebs. Family, I guess, maybe. And there are rats running around and stuff. That's a really good scene.
I'm also surprised they didn't go there with the whole, you know, sexual nature of it. I mean, these two guys have been living there for who knows how long without any company, particularly female company. And as you have mentioned, Denise was found in her lingerie. So I thought they might do something with that, but they didn't. They kept it somewhat PG.
I'm not sure.
Which is often.
I'm not sure that the deformed dead kids are too worried probably about sexual things.
Well, they're adults now.
Yeah, but...
So you think they have no sexual urges?
Yeah, because I
just
think...
killing urges.
Because we've been told that they are a gork, I'm not sure that they have... You know, it hasn't developed that far. They're staying around 12 years old or something like that. 10, whatever. They run from the sun now. They run through the sun, through the caves. And we've had shots of him before, but we've kind of like backlit. And we just kind of like see crazy hair and an outline of a human being. Mm-hmm. As they're running away, they do manage to get out. Seth has managed to make his way back from the police station. He's outside. A gun. He's found a musket.
Is that what it is?
I think it was a musket, yeah. And he shoots a werewolf. Something attacks him. And he blows it away. It falls into the river. And he goes and gets it back out.
Yes.
And as far as I could tell, it was a werewolf. They didn't mention anything about werewolf sons.
Well, I did turn to you when you mentioned that and said, well, you know, it's not like these guys have ever been to a barber. But the hair was coming through in a very weird way. Like, even if... I've seen, you know, depictions of people who haven't shaved or barbered in a long time, and it didn't look like that. So, yeah, they did kind of make them look like that.
They're kind of going bald,
Bizarre.
and they just have, like, threads of hair
and like
here and there coming out. Seth decides after blowing away his werewolf that he's going to go back into the house.
Yeah.
And he sees Marty and Jeff. He starts to explain what's been happening to him.
I killed him.
He's down on the floor, bottom floor, and they're standing on the stairs. And all of a sudden, from around the corner, a hand grabs him. Seth has been taken by one of the sons, or the daughters, possibly.
Yeah, because Seth actually turned out to be a really good guy, didn't he?
He was a good guy, yeah.
He didn't have to come back.
He's a good kid. Horny, but good.
Yeah, he didn't have to go back to the danger, but he did. He's like trying to save them, and then that's the end of him.
He's left his musket behind.
That's why, like Johnny says, you never help anyone.
No, ever.
That's a good life lesson, isn't it?
It is. Linda Blair decides to go down and try and grab his musket, which is left behind on the floor. But as she gets close to it, what I have got to assume is a werewolf now comes and makes itself known to her. So they start running around again. The son comes, one of the sons, and he ends up, I think he throws Jeff out of a window.
Yeah.
Psh, that's the end of him.
Whilst Linda climbs to the roof.
Linda finds a ladder to get herself down off the roof, and halfway, she's grabbed down there. Running around, she comes across all the dead bodies and stuff like that, and then a dead werewolf. But she wasn't expecting that. I certainly wasn't.
Yeah, and she comes across the head of the fraternity who's still got the keys to the lock on the gate, and she manages to grab those. Yeah.
On the other side of the gate, once she's unlocked it, in pursuit by one of the dead sons, there just has to be a waiting car there.
Yeah, well, it's because that's what Seth used to come back.
And it's not running.
Yes,
but as we've been,
she's a mechanic.
She's a mechanic.
Thank goodness.
That's like you had to pop that in there. She was a mechanic. So she just does goes to the bonnet, one spark, and it's working again. And before she drives off properly, she decides to back into the gate.
That was so stupid. She takes the time to relock the gate, but then as soon as she gets in the car, she's like.
But there's a reason for everything. And as she's driving off, of course, on top of the roof, reaching down to the windscreen, is one of the sons trying to grab at her. She decides, I'm not going to be able to get him off just by braking and stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back into the gate, which I just knocked over, which is at a particular angle, which will spear this guy through the torso, which is what she does. And he's left. And we get a close-up of his face. And, I think the makeup department have had a day off at this point, haven't they? He's not a werewolf. He's not really anything. Still enjoyed it.
When you think about it, I did enjoy the deaths. As you said, they were a fair range and this and that. But The gore was actually quite minimal in terms of special effects, because, for example, the first head chop, you see a split second and then that's cut.
Goes to a shadow on the wall.
The scything, you don't necessarily see it going into the flesh, you just see the scythe dripping blood on the other side. So it's all insinuated with minimal actual special effects.
Maybe Owen Yablans are trying to transplant what the minimalism of Halloween into Hell Night, but just amp it up just slightly.
Maybe.
I think, yeah, so good movie, I thought, still.
I enjoyed Linda Blair.
For your classic style 80s slasher.
Yeah.
This was, your regular fare, but if you like the regular fare, then you're going to enjoy it, I think.
Yes.
Third tier. Second place, extremely quirky movie from 1980, Fade to Black, starring Dennis Christopher as the lead, as Eric Binford, also starring, what do you call it? It's like a supporting role, Mickey Rourke, a young Mickey Rourke. This is 1980, before all the plastic surgery and the boxing career and going off the rails and stuff. I was looking at you while you were watching it, because I'd already seen it. So I was just watching. I didn't know what to make of it. I thought, was she hating it? Was she confused? Was she enjoying it? Was she thrilled? Who knows?
Yes.
All of the above.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So this one had 2 other references that it kept drawing me to, whether it makes sense to anyone else or not. One of them was Maniac.
Yeah, certainly. I thought that too.
And the other one...
Scream.
...was a particular episode of Baywatch.
Wait, your favourite episode of Baywatch?
Yes, it's a guy in Baywatch who does impressions from movies.
Yeah, like De Niro, everybody. And
Not
really,
very well.
really good ones. What?
Not very well. Yeah, so you mentioned already, so the reason that reminds me of this is because our titular character in this,
Eric Binford,
is obsessed with the movies.
Yeah, they'll be considered old-timey movies now. The movies of like James Cagney.
Lon Chaney Jr.
Yeah, people like that.
So he's obsessed with them, and he's like a trivia bot for all things film, right?
He's like the Internet Movie Database before the Internet Movie Database.
And he does multiple little snippets of impressions throughout the film.
Like I say, this is Dennis Christopher's character, Eric Binford, the lead, and he's a put-upon character, isn't he? He's living at home with Aunt Stella, who's not very fond of him. He's movie obsessed. He's got a boss that's constantly shouting at him. He's got Mickey Rourke at work who's kind of like half bullying him somewhat. And he's unlucky in love. He's on the fringes of society in Los Angeles, which is kind of what the whole movie is about. But you could argue you've had more sophisticated takes of the same thing. I would just argue this is just a completely different and quirky take on it. It's a strange movie.
It didn't seem new to me.
New as in...
Like the concept.
No, it's not new. I mean, this is still 1980 though. So stuff like this has been done after. I said Scream because you could take the character of Randy Meeks and apply it to Eric Binford. There's also the scene in Halloween Resurrection where Michael Myers comes in to the psychiatric unit and he kills Laurie Strode again. And there's a patient there who's obsessed with horror characters and masks, and as Michael Myers walked past, he starts naming all the dates, all of his kills at the town that he lived in and stuff like that. So I was seeing multiple movies that I've seen later on which have taken possibly from this.
Yeah. I did think his performance was great, but like I said, from that Baywatch thing, and also maybe because I haven't seen a lot of the references that he was doing the impressions from, I couldn't tell. I have no idea how accurate they were, so I was just kind of cringing, assuming like, oh no.
But either way, even if you don't know who he's doing, it's still that same old thing of I've got a Tommy gun. That was prevalent back in the day. So he's doing that impression, and I think he's pretty good at it. He commits hardcore.
Well, his performance is fantastic. Whether the impressions themselves are or not is kind of irrelevant, because he is committing to them to the point where, this character, he's not supposed to be an actor or an impressionist in the film. He's just a fan. So even if his impressions weren't spot on, it would still work.
Yeah. I get what you're saying there.
Yeah.
I think I've only seen Dennis Christopher in this and as Eddie Kaspbrak.
It's a shame, because he seems like a brilliant performer.
He's amazing, isn't he?
Yeah.
He really is. Because when you've only seen him in It, I'm thinking, okay, this is the only thing I've seen him, okay, he's very good, but He could just kind of like be playing a heightened version of himself or a lower version of himself, whereas in this he's completely
It's
wacko.
completely different.
Yeah, so he's kind of retired from acting now, it seems, because obviously he's I think he's in his late 70s or something like that. And yeah, it seems like he could have been used for way more. But as we all know, true talent doesn't always rise to what would be considered like the top. It's always just people who are like movie stars or whatever, you know. This guy would act a lot of people off the screen. So as we said, he's kind of a put upon character on the fringes of LA. And we notice all this in small scenes when he's at work and when he meets Mickey Rourke and meets his boss. And he goes to a diner.
Yeah.
And he meets a Marilyn Monroe lookalike, who's
Yes.
also called Marilyn in the movie. This was quite a funny scene because he's sitting on the stool at the diner at the counter.
Yeah.
Marilyn's in a booth with her friend. So he has to kind of like turn around to notice her. And he's kind of like... He's putting all these strange faces at her, not uttering a word. I mean, of course he would be doing that. Like I say, he's on the fringe of society, and she's a very pretty girl. But she then notices him looking at her.
Yeah.
Her friend is not impressed.
No.
But Marilyn is kind of more taken with him.
Isn't that just like a typical dynamic though? Like you've got the pretty friend who all the guys are after, and then you've got her friend who's always pissed off that any guys are interested. So that's what I was getting. She's like, God's sake, this boy giving you attention again. And you wouldn't necessarily think that he'd have a shot either, because she looks similar to Marilyn Monroe and he is not your classic handsomeness type.
No,
he?
but she says he's quite cute.
Shy?
She
Yeah.
says he's quite cute. And because her name is Marilyn, he's kind of like a wacko. He actually does confuse her for Marilyn Monroe. He asks her a question about one of Marilyn Monroe's movies, saying, what movie did this character take you to see in your movie so-and-so? And she's kind of like guessing. She says like Frankenstein or whatever, and then he decides to give her a clue by going, he's just met her. No wonder the best friend is freaked out.
Yeah, I mean, if you'd come up to me and then started doing that, I don't know if we'd be sat here today the way we are. I was truly shocked that she was still interested after that.
Yeah, instead I walked up to you like the mummy. That's a mummy girl.
But she takes the reins and she's like, hey, can you give me a ride to work? So she's clearly interested. Even his impression of the creature from the Black Lagoon hasn't put her off.
And we get shots of the movies from like Creature of the Black Lagoon.
Yes.
From the Black Lagoon, should I say.
Are they all in the... what's it called when it's like free to use? Because I know Nosferatu is.
Well, it's strange because...
What is it, 100 years and then it's in the public
these
domain?
movies aren't 100 years old.
No.
Not even close.
No.
But what I found strange was so they're showing movies from a whole bunch of... So we've got Kiss of Death is one of the movies. That's... I've got also something called Hop Along Cassidy, which is a cowboy TV show. And when the credits rolled, it said, oh, this one is courtesy of United Artists, this one is courtesy of Universal, Fox, and so forth. These days, you would never be allowed to do that because, studios keep their stuff in-house. They wouldn't allow another studio to license their stuff.
God forbid you do any kind of advertisement for it.
Yeah, God forbid you collaborate to make just a good film, like left, right, and centre. So yeah, if the movie's made by Universal, they would only now show movies that are licensable through Universal. There'd never be a crossover kind of thing. The James Cagney movie was White Heat, and it was the James Cagney character that she's kind of like seems to be most obsessed with because he changes his name at some point in the movie to Cody Jarrett, who is James Cagney's character.
After he has his first break,
in White Heat.
Basically.
Yeah.
Which happens at home with his aunt. Do you want me to...
But no, I was just going to say, because when they're being... When he's taking Marilyn to work, he also has to say, oh, I've got 2 wheels, not 4. So she's all dressed up all nicely, kind of got her hair done, but she's got to get on Vespa. She's not put off by that either. And as they're making their way there, he's kind of like talking about his dreams. Like, one day I'm going to own my own cinema, and I'm only going to play the movies that I want to see. And of course, you're invited. That's a nice chat line.
Yeah, but they clearly have a really good chat because when he finally drops her off at work, and she's
at
like...
the rollerblade store.
Yeah, she says, oh, we'll have to go out again sometime. And he's like, well, how about tonight? So they set a date to meet at the cinema at 8 p.m.
Yeah, but it turns out she's a bit of a double booker, Marilyn. She looks like Marilyn Monroe, so of course she's got loads of fellas after her.
Yeah, but he seems to be the only one she's actually interested in because we do see her on this double booked date with some guy who's saying he's a photographer and this and that. And she's clearly not very
Of course
interested.
he is. Yeah.
And she seems to be putting off going home with him because she's like, oh, and I think I'll have dessert and all of this stuff. And then she suddenly realizes, oh my God, I was supposed to meet a guy like 3 hours ago. And she quickly rushes over.
We're not quite there yet because we have to be introduced to other characters before date night comes along. Now, can you remember why a doctor and a female cop, Officer Anne, and Dr. Moriarty are paired up? Because Dr. Moriarty is in like the head of police's office, and in walks Officer Anne, and it's like, this Dr. Moriarty is the officer you'll be working with.
Yeah, Dr. Moriarty's character wasn't that clear for me, but because he's working with, I believe, adolescent, like juvenile offenders who have been tested psychologically, and instead of being put in jail, they're going to attend his like lessons and get a job or education, something along those lines.
Right, so he's a do-gooder.
Yes, and the police officer you mentioned,
Officer Anne.
She's very fascinated by this, and
she's heard of him, right?
Yeah, she's read his files or something. I suppose because he's going to be working at their precinct.
She's impressed with him. So does that make him a famous doctor? I guess he must be like Dr. Loomis.
No, I think it's just because he's going to be working in their precinct. So
has Owen Yablans gone up? We've had Dr. Loomis. I need another impressive doctor in Fade to Black with Dr. Moriarty. And to me, he is impressive because after we're introduced to them, the next time we see Moriarty sitting at a desk behind, he's got like a wire cage in front of him as well, which separates the room, and he's kind of like fiddling about, goes into his pocket, does some cocaine, and then starts playing the harmonica.
I don't know what this was about.
It's just a scene of Dr. Moriarty playing the harmonica with gusto.
And doing more cocaine singing as well.
Hey, baby! And halfway
do you know what I
think
the only reason they did this was because they needed something so sexy that it would legitimise why police officer Anne comes down and sees
why
this.
is Dr. Moriarty doing cocaine and playing the harmonica by himself sat at a table in
a police station?
Which then Officer Anne, halfway through his performance of coke snorting and harmonica playing, has just been standing there watching him.
She likes what she sees.
She likes what she sees as a cop. Oh, I love a coke snorting harmonica playing doctor. He notices that she's looked at him. He's like, oh, he's a bit embarrassed. But then we cut. And the next scene is he's on top of her in the duvet, just about finishing. As they're finishing, the duvet comes down, and he's instantly got a box of Ritz and a bottle of wine at the ready.
Why? Where was that?
He comes from under the covers with his box of crackers and wine. It's like, that was a good shag. What a scene.
Has he been hanging on to the Ritz the whole time they've been shagging?
I love Dr. Moriarty. Of course he has, yeah, because that's what I'm saying. He must have been on top of her with the Ritz at this side and the bottle at that side, so he's getting down to it and also snacking. Because like I say, when the duvet comes off, the Ritz are already in his hand. He doesn't reach for them.
Does cocaine make you snacky?
No. No, it makes you drinky. That's why he's got the wine, because you can take in much more. And so she's impressed with this. She's so impressed that they start watching television. She's showing him his gun and things like this. And he's kind of like whacked out because he's been doing loads of cocaine, clearly. And they have like a conversation about nothing really. And at the end he just goes, I never fucked a cop before. End scene. That's my kind of scene. Dr. Moriarty. What a legend.
It was very strange. I didn't know what they were going for at certain points. I was like, are they trying to be funny, but then they don't do it for ages? Are they just... It's
just that classic 1980s thing, which we're going to have again in the initiation of just tonally, it can go all over the place, and you just have super random scenes which make not a blind bit of sense.
No.
Characters don't make any sense. And I read a few reviews and people were talking about Dr. Moriarty saying that he was stiff and wooden. And I thought, no, he's just playing he's playing a coked out doctor.
Yeah, stiff. I mean, all you have to do is watch that little bit of him playing the harmonica and singing. I wouldn't say stiff and wooden.
No, I would not say that about that. No, especially emerging from the sheets of a box of Ritz. I might try that. So now it's time for the date. Marilyn's on her first date in the posh restaurant with the photographer, which you've kind of gone through. Meanwhile, Binford is already at the cinema, smoking away. He's constantly smoking in this, isn't he? Made me want to have a fag. He's constantly smoking. She's not turned up yet. He keeps seeing a bunch of ladies with like similar hairstyles. He runs up behind him. Oh, Marilyn! It's not Marilyn. He's just freaking out a bunch of women, kind of thing. And it seems like she's taken a long time because he walks up to the front desk and he's like, "Have you seen a woman with big red lips and lovely blonde hair?" And he's like, "Maybe."
But what I didn't understand was that when she, as I mentioned earlier, she realises, oh, I'm late for this date, and she rushes over there. But I thought we were being shown him just hanging around there for hours. But then when she finally gets there, they don't meet each other, and we're still shown him hanging. So I was like, well, where is he hanging around?
You see the clock. So it's supposed to meet at 8 o'clock, I believe. And by the time she gets there, it's already, I think it was like 9:15 or gone 9. So, but he's now wandered off to a store. There's another mannequin or boot store that he's hanging around. So it's probably in that kind of same vicinity, but he's already decided to wander off. She's got there too late, and we just see shots of her waiting outside by herself. I thought that the camera work at the cinema was sublime. I loved it when they were really going on him close, like really invasive in his space. I was getting a real kind of feeling that this just through the camera that this guy is kooky and off completely. All adds to it. Like the camera work worked with the performance. And for a kind of I wouldn't call it a silly movie, once again quirky movie, it just has elements which took it a level above, I thought, because it could easily fail, this kind of thing.
Well, if you've got the wrong person in that performance, it would be awful. But yeah, not only was he committed and did a really good job, but he also had an interesting, like, just facial structure and stuff, which lent itself to it. And him being really skinny, all of that, it all just worked really well. Yeah.
After being stood up, because they really just missed each other, he's back at home and he's watching movies on his projector. Mean Aunt Stella rolls in, because she's in a wheelchair, and just wrecks his projector as I go at the state of his room. And it's at this point, which are quite late in the movie, close to 40 minutes, no one's died yet, and he finally snaps. And he's doing a character from a movie
that he was just watching.
Yeah, who pushes someone down the stairs
in a wheelchair,
which he then does to Stella.
Yeah, so she's gone. He's offed her.
Kiss of Death, I think that movie was.
Yeah, so as you said, this is about 40 minutes in or something.
Close to, yeah.
And I was still this was the first time where I was seeing a plot starting to take shape, because the whole beginning of the film, to me, is quite bizarrely done, in that normally you kind of understand, what a character is trying to do or what we're going to see through the film, even if you don't know the resolution. Whereas with this one, I was like, well, where is this going?
I remember when he said that, because you were in the kitchen, and when he said it out loud, I had to pause the movie. We were about half an hour in, and I was like, half an hour, you're not gauging where this is going.
It doesn't make it bad, but it
half understand that.
It's kind of like, when you've got a slow burner, those oftentimes you're not entirely sure where it's going. But this wasn't necessarily a slow burn. It just felt like a lot of exposition, just showing you his life. And, he starts... I wouldn't say he's, mentally gone at the start of this film.
No,
he's just
not.
Very different, and he's got his obsessions. And we're kind of seeing the build-up and all the reasons as to why the later things that happen now actually happen. But you don't realise that until the things are happening. Yeah,
I like that bit, because I hadn't even noticed until the first kill. I was like, oh, actually, that's the first kill. It's not like I was thinking, oh, what's happening there? Hurry up with some gore or some kills or whatever.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking hurry up, but I was like, wait, what is this film going to be about? I have no idea.
You mentioned Auntie Stella, and she's wrecked his projector, but we also see at the very beginning of the movie, and again, just very weird 1980s action, where she goes into his room, and she plays some music and just start...
Yeah. With her walking stick. Why has she got a walking stick while she's in a wheelchair?
I don't know.
Just so she can use it as
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that performance was very strange.
When he pushes her down the stairs and she's offed, he's kind of at the top of the stairs like...
He does a really weird
And it's like, Kiss of Death, starring Mark Irwin, or all these other names as he walks in to the room.
So this is the moment where he's snapped, isn't it? This is where his... tenuous grip on reality seems to have just gone, because with this first death, he's still acting through the rest of the film as if she's still alive.
He's talking to her urn at one point, isn't he?
Yeah. And he's also now fully committed to this film thing, because we see a scene of the postman woman coming round, and she sees a different name on the letterbox, and
C. Jarrett.
the street sign is different. So, you know, she knocks and she's like, "Oh, it is you. I thought, you know, because the name was different, maybe you'd let..." And he's like, "I am C. Jarrett. I don't know who you're talking about." And like, yeah, shuts the door on her. So clearly he is already committed to the fact that he's C. Jarrett.
Something else which was possibly subtly giving away that he's losing his mind, to me at least, was when after he pushes her down the stairs, he walks back into the house, and there's a vanity mirror, you know, with all the bulbs on the edging. And in front of the vanity mirror, pushed further towards his face, is one of those, is it a paw mirror? For your paws, where it's a mirror that goes really close onto your face.
Okay, right.
So you see a double reflection.
Like a magnified one.
Magnified circular mirror in front of the square vanity mirror, and you see him in the vanity mirror, obviously just like kind of like looking at himself deep, and you see a closer version of him in there. I just thought it was just an incredible shot, really good.
And his performance was really good. Really
because
sold it.
He then goes against the wall. He starts heaving, doesn't he? He's like he's about to be sick because he realizes what he's done. Because he's not a completely evil person. And so he's having reactions to what he's doing. But as you say, so now he's going to like completely snap. So the next kind of thing we see is Aunt Stella's makeup table. We think, uh-oh, what's going on here? You know, a bit of Buffalo Bill, a bit of, you know, Leatherface when he starts to wear women's clothing and stuff like this. But no, he's done half of his face as the old school kind of like Bela Lugosi Dracula. And the turn where it shows off all of the makeup is done incredibly well.
Yeah,
especially
flawless.
Especially that half his face is just his regular face kind of thing.
It's absolutely
so, like,
flawless.
props to the makeup department in that. And then he goes to the movies dressed as Dracula to go and watch Night of the Living Dead. Yes. It was cool just seeing Dracula sitting there with popcorn.
And again, that makeup on his bone structure was so effective.
It was.
But it seemed like he wasn't the only one at the movie theatre dressed up.
No, he wasn't.
Which
Everybody
was a bit
was.
strange.
Maybe that's why, you know, I'm going to be a weirdo, but I still need to kind of fit in somewhat. Because I'm going to go and kill some people straight afterwards.
Yeah,
I thought... he does.
Because, like, the reason he's lost it is he thinks he's living out the films, doesn't he?
Yeah. So after the film's finished, still dressed as Dracula, he's kind of running through the streets doing his cape and stuff like that, and he ends up at Marilyn's place when she's taking a shower, Psycho style. Yes. So we're having all the same shots from Psycho and stuff like this in daylight. Sorry, in the bright light of the lights of the bathroom. And then behind the shower curtain, we just see Dracula there. He pulls back the curtain, she shrieks, and he freaks out. He's like, "I only wanted your autograph!" And he drops his fountain pen into the tub and runs away. And then instead of the blood circling down the drain, we just see the pen ink.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
Really
very, very strange. After he leaves her house, previously when he was waiting for Marion at the cinema, he asks a hooker, who he doesn't realise is a hooker, you know, what the time is and what her job is and all this kind of stuff. She gets really annoyed at him. He ends up at a parking lot, again, running around with his cape and stuff. And he walks up to her and goes, "I believe we have met before, Vaka of the night." And she's like, kind of thing. And he ends up chasing her as Dracula, this hooker, doing the cape thing, running around downtown LA. And she ends up she falls down and bumps her head and ends up getting like staked through the neck by a fence or something like that.
Yeah.
And then he decides to taste her blood.
And then he full on goes for it.
Full on goes for it, yeah.
Like Dracula. Another
very, very strange, kind of funny, but also good scene, I thought.
Yeah.
It was really, you know, come full circle when he starts to dab his finger into her blood and licks it off his fingers.
But also, it is that thing of, because when he's running after her, I mean, we know, it's a horror movie, we know she's going to die. Whether he does it himself or as happens, you know, he causes it to happen. But because, like I said, he's doing that thing with the cape, like, you know, winging it and stuff. It is laughable, but it's also it's like character. It's only someone completely off the rails.
Yeah.
Is gonna do this.
He's batty.
He's mental.
Get it?
Yes, I get it.
Good. We mentioned Mickey Rourke is in this film. So he works with Seth Binford. I didn't really know what it was. He's kind of a projectionist or something. He pops movies into the projector for showings and stuff like that. That's why we have that giant kind of like warehouse with all the you know, in the can. We've got all the reels in the can. So when he first meets Mickey Rourke, or when we first meet Mickey Rourke in the movie, Mickey Rourke's with his mate, and obviously because he works at the same place as Eric Binford, he's also a film buff, and they're making bets, and Eric Binford says to Mickey Rourke, "What is the surname of so and so character in the movie Casablanca?" And Mickey Rourke is like, "I know Casablanca like the back of my hand. They just asked me the question," but Mickey Rourke doesn't know the answer to the question. And there's kind of like beef between them. We see him later on when Mickey Rourke is kind of like teasing him by like putting a bit of film rule around his neck. So mild bullying kind of thing.
Basically, everyone bullies this character.
Everyone's putting on. So now it's time, of course, for Mickey Rourke to die. But before he dies, he's at the pier with his friend, walking around the pier. They're playing the games where you throw a sack at a bunch of tin cans and stuff like that. He wins like a small teddy, then they steal a big teddy. And as they're walking around their teddies, Mickey Rourke was on turn to his mate, he's like, "I'm sick of this. When are we going to get some pussy?" And as they're like, "Okay, let's go and get some then." And as they're walking back along the pier, they walk past the guy who owns the pier. Mickey Rourke's like, "Hey, where you hiding all the pussy tonight?" And he's like, "Vegas." He's like, "I ain't going to Vegas for no pussy." Great scene. But Mickey Rourke was really great in this.
Mickey Rourke is great.
He is great. That's the thing. He would act any modern day actor off the screen.
It's such a shame he even touched his face though. Like,
yeah,
he
handsome
didn't need
fella.
to.
Yeah, I know, but he's just a self-destructive guy. I'd always love Mickey Rourke.
This
effortless.
So this Mickey Rourke's scene, his confrontation with our main guy, the
Weird.
costume and where he got this from. This is probably the costume that least worked on him.
Yeah, he's that Hopalong guy that I mentioned, Hopalong Cassidy, the cowboy from a TV show.
Typical Western style, essentially. Yeah. And he's got the mask from, I think, the actual character as well.
Very weird looking
strange.
mask. It is a strange looking
mask.
But
the reason this one just didn't work right is because I'm assuming the actor who plays him, like in Westerns, they're always quite...
William Boyd.
Broad, buff.
Yeah.
And obviously... our main guy is not. So you've got the cinched waist thing. And it looks like it's about this small. So it looks like a little kid doing it.
And it's really almost exaggerated because he's backlit.
Yeah.
So it's almost just the silhouette of the cowboy. So you really do notice the waistline. And it's kind of like the flaring kind of trousers that he's wearing. He's also doing the whole cowboy walk, isn't he?
Yeah, he's fully committed in every single way to these characters. And he pulls out a gun when he comes across
Mickey Rourke and his mate.
Yeah. And he, kicks it across the floor to Mickey Rourke. And so he's clearly challenging him.
To a duel.
Mickey Rourke, they think it's kind of a joke. The mate is like, "Oh, let's just get out of it." But Mickey Rourke is kind of playing along. He's like, "Yeah, why not? Let's humour this guy." And Mickey Rourke fires and it's a blank. Mm-hmm. But Eric's is real.
He's real and he says like, "Dance, cowboy."
Yeah.
That's when Mickey Rourke realises it's real.
What the hell are you doing?
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the
mate runs away.
Mate runs away and he does implore Mickey Rourke to run with him.
Yeah.
But Mickey Rourke wants to stick around to see what's going on. Yeah, you would just
Why
run
didn't
away.
he just get out of there?
I guess it's because he's like the hard-headed bully. I'm just going to stick around. This guy isn't no trouble to me kind of thing. And he does say to him, "You know what? I've done nothing wrong to you." Da-da-da-da-da. And slowly he realises that it is Binford behind the mask. And then quite violently... shoots him twice in the stomach, and it is filmed violently, isn't it? So I say this is a slasher, and it is a slasher. It's a slasher with a gun, because that's what he's killing people with, isn't it?
Well, multiple things. Push someone down the stairs. He's shot this guy. Yeah,
but then he just shoots people after this mostly. Yeah, so either accidents or what seems to be accidents with the girl, the hooker girl. And yeah, so he shoots Mickey Rourke through the stomach, and that's the end of him. The next scene we get with Binford is randomly. He's hitched a ride with a major Hollywood producer. And while he's hitching this ride, he pitches his idea for a movie to the producer, just like, "Hey, this is a pretty good idea. You'll go far, kid."
Gives him his number.
Drops him off.
Yeah,
and we then see later on, Binford is in a television store. And there's televisions everywhere.
Yeah.
And a chat show comes on. And it's the producer sat in the chair talking about this new movie that he's come up with.
It's Binford's idea.
And
he's not giving him any credit.
No, so Binford rings him from a public phone. Mm-hmm. He's like, "Hey, it's me, Eric Binford. I saw you on television. You were talking about my movie." And of course, the producer classic Hollywood types. Like, hey, kid, I have no idea who you are, and we don't accept any outside scripts. Click.
Why did he even give him his number, though? That's what I don't understand.
Yeah, good point.
I thought, like, the way he was playing it as well didn't seem like he was just blowing him off. It seemed like he genuinely had a memory lapse or something, because I was like, wait, what?
Now that life has got even worse with Binford, you know, he's obsessed with the movie. So, of course, getting turned down or, you know, having his idea for a movie ripped away from him and stolen leads to the most authentic wanking scene I've ever seen in a film.
I wouldn't know. I don't
Well, I've not
know
seen
what
many,
an
if
authentic
any.
wank looks like.
Norman Bates looking through the peephole. You know, I'm saying this was a graphic one, wasn't it? Because we actually see Eric, like, grabbing his crotch and putting his hand into his pants and stuff. And he's imagining Marilyn Monroe doing the Happy Birthday, Mr. President.
Except it's Australian Marilyn.
Yeah, or English Marilyn, whatever. Yeah, Australian, yeah, correct. Australian Marilyn. And as he's furiously having a go at himself, he's also calling her all the names under the sun, isn't he? It's not happy. It's not a happy good time that he's having. Yeah.
I don't know what else he says.
He
but
really
yeah, you
likes
get the
it
idea.
because he ejaculates quickly.
But he then apologises to
He
Mary.
does. He apologises.
Do you think he was apologising for ejaculating or for calling her bad words?
He's had the post-ejaculation clarity. He's like, sorry about that.
Oh.
Yeah, went a bit far there, didn't I? But yeah, again, just that scene. You could maybe call it over the top too far. Even that's a pretty graphic scene for masturbation, if you ask me. This is certainly the most graphic male masturbation scene that I've come across.
Yeah, weirdly
Played
enough,
straight.
I've seen just as graphic, if not more so, in stage plays, but not necessarily in film.
I should also mention that, you know, he's having this wank while watching Halloween.
What a wank.
Owen Yablans is like, look, when you have this wank, you must watch Halloween. So why is he so sad, really? Because, you know, he's having a good time and watching Halloween. If you're a single fella, it doesn't really go much better than that, does it?
Have we also had yet when he
It's good use of your time as a single man.
What, wanking?
And watching Halloween.
Have we had yet when he goes to work?
He goes back to work.
And then it turns out the two-wheel drive that he, for example, picked up Marilyn when drove her to work, that's actually not even his.
No,
he's taken it from work. Yeah.
Yeah, because when he comes across his boss for the first time, Mr. Berger, he's already kind of like messed up one thing. He then asks Mr. Berger for money because he's lost the petty cash and stuff like this. He just seems like the all thing is like, once again, I don't need a guy to root for because really Binford's not a good guy.
No.
Forget about him killing people. I'm talking about even before he's like really cracked. He's a bit of a prat.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say he's like a bad guy, but he's not a good guy either. He's just very average.
I guess he's socially awkward to the point where he's not endearing himself to people in general. But I really feel like if he had just gone on the date with Marilyn, if that had happened, we probably would have steered in a different direction in his life. But with that happening, it's just taken him to the dark side, and he cracks. So after relieving himself to Halloween, he goes back to work, and he's standing outside against the wall, like confidently smoking. And his boss, Mr. Berger, comes up. So I'm having a go again. What are you doing out here smoking? He's like, well, Mr. Berger, I'm getting married. And Mr. Berger's like, what unlucky broad has said yes to you? And he goes, it's a movie star. Oh yeah, which one? Marilyn Monroe. Well, Mr. Berger snaps. This is like, you bloody idiot. You're not marrying Marilyn Monroe. So like, Binford gets mad at this. He like kicks the Vespa over, which belongs to the company, which we found out.
And he's not being let in back to go and get his personal effects out.
His posters, he's got expensive posters in there. Mr. Berger says, no, anything inside the premises is now officially mine.
Yeah.
So Binford doesn't take kindly to this. So what he does is, at night time, he's also left his boss loads of work through because he's messed up all the work in the office. So Mr. Berg has to stay late. And while he's staying late, all of a sudden, a mummy comes out of the dark. And we also mentioned about Mr. Berger throughout the movie, he's been popping pills because he's got heart problems.
Yeah.
So at the sight of the mummy coming after him slowly through his place of work, he obviously has a heart attack. So it's another person that he's killed, but not really killed.
I mean, I saw that coming. From the first moment he popped a pill, I was like, oh, okay, so he's just going to have a heart attack. But is it just me? Or I think this one might actually be my favourite ever mummy.
It was a good mummy.
You could see so much sparkle of the eyes, even though it was black, like the eyes, you couldn't see the actual definition of the eyes. You could see something there. It looked awesome. I loved it.
It was a very impressive mummy, and it was, like you say, to do with the eyes. Certainly.
It was the whole face thing, something they did with the makeup on the face. I don't know if maybe they didn't use proper bandages throughout the whole face, because you could see a bit more definition.
Yeah, it's exposed. Some of it's exposed, yeah.
And they managed, I don't know. I don't know how they did it, but it looked awesome.
The makeup department in this has just done a stellar job along the way. So now that he's off his boss, it's time to get back to the producer. And the producer is in a barber's, and he's being lauded, he's in left, right, and centre by all his hangers-on and stuff like this, being given
his birthday.
Congratulatory cards for his birthday, as you say, yeah. In walks Binford, though, dressed as a gangster.
Here's
with
my
a
little Tommy gun.
Yeah. And at first, the producer, Bialy, his name's Bialy, he thinks it's a joke, he thinks it's like a birthday prank. But then Binford kind of like puts out all the lights and stuff like this. All of the hangers-on and the barbers run out. And Bialy realises that, this is actually going to take a turn for the worse for me. And he's sitting there, and he kind of like realises who Binford is, because he's like, don't you recognise me? Like, pops up his hat kind of thing. And he's like, wait, you can go far with me, kid. And he's like, not too far anymore. I mean, again, violently blows him away as well. He got the whole thing where he's like spinning around in the barber's chair. Mm-hmm. Another good kill. And as Eric is walking out after killing him, he notices like a budgie in a cage. He's like, you got good pipes, kid. Come on to the club and I'll see what I can do for you. Nice touch. So it's at this point now that we mentioned it before, he's already changed his name to Cody Garrett, and it's Moriarty, Dr. Moriarty, and Officer Anne who have come across this knowledge now. So they're riding in the cop car, kind of like reading out all the exposition, trying to find him. And while they're doing this, Officer Anne says he didn't realise, but actually his Aunt Stella was his own mother. And for some reason, this has messed him up. To which Moriarty says, poor little weasel didn't stand a chance, did he? This is supposed to be a child psychiatrist. He's calling him a little weasel. Maybe he's on the old gear again.
Probably.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I didn't really feel like the whole cop side was that necessary.
It wasn't.
No.
But it was completely necessary for that bedroom scene and the harmonica coke scene. Definitely.
It did crack you up, didn't they?
It did crack me up, yeah. Especially the harmonica scene. Actually, no, I say especially, but the Ritz, just having Ritz after sex straight away really cracked me up. So Binford he's with Marilyn again.
Yeah.
And he's dressed as someone, like the Prince of Carpathia. And he's behind a camera.
Prince and the Showgirl.
Prince and the Showgirl, yeah. Is that what it is?
That's what he's based it on. He's brought her along under the guise of being a photographer, and he needs a Marilyn lookalike. So she's gone there. And then he's like, oh, we're going to be acting out the Prince and the Showgirl. So he gets her all dressed up. And I'm assuming both of them are in the sort of same outfits they are in the film. And they're waltzing around. I mean, Marilyn's reaction in this whole scene was a bit strange to me, because, like, what does she think is happening? Because clearly no one's taking any photos.
I think possibly she's happy to be reunited with him after missing him at the cinema.
So she's just caught up in the moment kind of thing.
But then he's also feeding her pills.
And she's quite easily just taking
them.
Yeah,
he's feeding her pills, which kind of like, it makes her dreary and kind of just more susceptible to what he wants her to do. Kind of thing. Because he knows that he's probably not going to be able to keep hold of her through, regular means. So he's brought these pills along. Well, I'm not sure whose pills they are either. But they make her kind of like drowsy. Not to the point where she's like, lethargic and stuff. But it's just made her more receptive to what he wants her to do, I guess. Something like that. Which is just be with him, is what I'm assuming. So, of course, Moriarty and Anna, they bust in. Quickly, Moriarty is shot. But he's not shot in the leg or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's not fatal or anything like that. And they run through the theatre. And the theatre is the Grauman's Chinese theatre in Los Angeles. It just looks fantastic, lit up at night. And this is another thing, because the whole end of the movie takes place on top of the Chinese Grauman's theatre. This is something that it would never be allowed to happen again unless you had $100 million budget, something like that. They wouldn't allow it for a small independent movie like this, which is a huge shame. And also, just being 1980 in LA, you're on the cusp of, the Sunset Strip cock rock era and stuff like that. The place is still much like New York was in the 80s, still has that grimy character to it. It has all the bars with the lights outside and stuff. Whereas now it's been completely diluted. Some of the most fabulous places are gone and have been replaced by estate agents and stuff like this. The same stuff happens here. We get a great local restaurant. Oh, it's gone out of business. It's an estate agents now. It's just like heartbreaking to see Los Angeles, downtown LA, Hollywood at that time in 80s. It's gone now, so it's always a thrill to see it like that and to have it filmed on the Chinese theatre, which is genius because there's been a movie fan and stuff like that. So he's running through the theatre, being chased by the doctor and the cop. They manage to get to the top of the Chinese theatre. He he locks Marilyn in the stairwell.
Yeah.
Yeah, because down below there's it seemed there must be a movie premiere going on and stuff like that, because you've got the searchlights crossing back and forth like that, looking up at him, and he's looking down on the crowd.
Well, all the cops are there as well.
Yeah, I was about to say there's a bunch of snipers there, and the cops are there because they're on the chase now, because they know that he's killed a bunch of people, and he's got Marilyn with him as kind of like his captor.
I again didn't really understand with the Marilyn thing, because I think he mentions when he closes her in off the roof, I think he hands her another couple of pills and is like, oh, take these and we'll be together. Because he obviously knows he's going to be... I mean, he's living out a scene.
Yeah. Again,
which we keep flashing back to. He knows he's going to die.
He's going to commit suicide by cop.
Yeah. But...
so are you instigating that he's given the pills because that's going to take her over the edge into death?
Well, that's what I'm not entirely sure about. Because if it was just like, oh, let's just both die together and we can be together, then why wouldn't he have just... Well, actually, I suppose they wouldn't have shot at her, would they? No,
they wouldn't have. So I do think it is him
trying to...
killing her. He's overdosing her on pills. He's taking a lot of pills in a very short space of time. And like I say, he knows what scene he's going to do on the roof. He's waving his gun about and stuff like that. And I think he's James Cagney possibly in this. I might be wrong, but, a well-known old-timey actor. And yeah, once, because he's waving his gun about, the cop's always like blown away. It takes him a few times to blow him away because he keeps coming back, much like the character in the movie that he's portraying.
Yeah, he's got supernatural forces because he needs to play out the scene.
And he had that classic line at the end where he's like, "Top of the world, ma!" And he's finally shot and he falls to the ground in front of the Chinese theatre, which is great. I've only ever seen "Top of the World, Ma" mentioned by Andrew Dice Clay at one of his stand-up routines back in the 80s when he was Andrew Dice Clay, not the shell of a man he is now.
This film, as I said, I enjoyed all three of these. But I feel like if you are a true, like, old-timey black and white movie fan, it would bring a whole nother dimension to it. I feel like this could be an absolute gem favourite for many people.
It is, actually.
But I just don't have enough of that knowledge to get that part of it. So it's still a good film. But if I had that and I could be, oh yeah, it's that bit, or it's him, and that would have added to it, I think. I
do know who Hopalong Cassidy is. I did not expect ever a killer to dress up as Hopalong Cassidy in a movie and off people. And of course, we all know who Dracula and the Mummy are. And of course, I know James Cagney is as well. So we could say all the press. But yeah, there are two which I wasn't sure of what he was doing. But yeah, if you do know those movies really well, then you will get more from it. But this is quite a loved movie. It's not a well-known movie, but for the people that have seen it, it seems like it's held in quite high regard, and I can see why. Yeah, enjoyable, and just for the performance really of Dennis Christopher, it's worth seeing because he's really great, really good. So that's the number 2 for this week, and in number 1 for me, which was your bottom pick. The first movie we watched this week, which you were most excited about, just from the title, The Initiation. Number 1 for me from 1984. This is one with Clu Gulager in it.
I thought from The Initiation that we were going to get some low-budget, tacky, noughties thing. So
noughties?
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be an 80s thing. Right. I thought it was going to be way more modern. So I had an idea of what was to be expected, like,
Sorority Row remake.
I guess, I don't know. So it wasn't that, and it was far more quality.
It was quality.
I went in
far more quality.
Expecting.
Yeah, definitely. Much like Hell Night, got a bunch of sorority sisters pledging to say Delta Rho Chi or whatever. There's a nice scene where all of the sorority sisters are lining the stairway in the house and the new pledges are walking down, and
there's a hell of a lot of them.
They're all holding candles and going like, Delta Rho Chi, never will die.
And they're all wearing very silky negligee type Sleepwear.
As sorority sisters do. So our main sorority sisters who are to be initiated this year are our main girl Kelly. Then we've got Alison, Marsha the Virgin, and a side character called Beth who's not really in it too much. And when they meet Megan, who is the leader of the sorority. So when they're lined up, they are told what their task is for this year to be initiated. And what they have to do is break in to the character Kelly's parents' department store and steal the night watchman, the guard's uniform.
Down to the pants.
Down to the pants, yeah. So now we know that's going to be going on. Transferred into the girl's bedroom. Alison is very, very happy about this task because she's heard that the night watchman is hung like a mule. Will that excite you?
No.
No, it doesn't excite Marsha either. Marsha's like, oh, do you have to be so crude? And Alison's like, just because you're a virgin.
Ooh.
Yeah, you know, virgins get picked on in the 80s. It's better to be a slut like Alison. They're the cool kids. So there's also like there's the pre-scene, like a prologue of a young Kelly coming home, seeing her mother being rutted by some stranger. Then her dad comes home, and the dad sets the geezer on fire.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a very nice childhood. And she's also an amnesiac from that. She doesn't remember her childhood. She's just a childhood amnesiac, which will come later on. So that's what we've got to do. And we are then transferred to a mental institution.
Yeah.
And there's a nurse, and either side of her
Nurse Ratchet
in
style.
cages are just, you know, people. One of them's got a football helmet on, like hitting himself on the head with a bat, like, it's this kind of psych ward. You know, we've also got Licky Man.
So disgusting.
He keeps doing
Even
that.
The sound effect of that is. Ugh.
So she's like nurse, like you say, she's like Nurse Ratchet to them. Comes to nighttime, she goes outside into the car park, and suddenly all the inmates are outmates, and
It escaped.
they're all doing the ring around the rosies, like
Yeah.
chant, and they all get in the middle of her. She's like, "You all go back to your rooms," but she starts getting overwhelmed by the sheer amount of them. Goes to her car. As she gets in there, though, someone's got a garden fork and stabs her. While she's being stabbed, who's looking through the window? Licky Man, the Licky patient. Yeah, so that's the end of her. So we've seen.
Well, we also noticed in that scene when she's looking down through a window that there's a gardener, and it turns out
scarred-faced gardener.
that he was actually incarcerated. I don't think he's mentally unstable, but he's an offender.
Yes, he is.
And his daily job is maintaining the grounds of the mental institution, and he is very scarred. Clearly, he's been through some fire.
And he's also when he notices Nurse Ratchet looking down at him, he's got his gardening fork and he's like into the ground multiple times, so we know that he's a bit angry. He's going to use this thing. There's now a phone call to a well-to-do couple who happen to be Kelly's parents.
Fairchild, I think they are.
Yeah, the Fairchild. And Mr. Fairchild, played by Clu Gulager, he's on the phone. He's like, right, thank you for letting me know. He's like, oh, the patients, they escaped.
Uh-oh.
Miss Fairchild's a bit worried about this, to which Clu Gulager says, don't worry, he's at least 300 miles away, whoever the hell he is. Yeah. So I introduced to Kelly's parents, and Kelly and the sorority girls. Kelly and Marsha are walking on the school grounds. Up behind them comes Andy, a tennis fanatic who's got little tiny shorts on and a jumper just resting on his shoulders, as rich posh people do. You know, they can't put jumpers on, can they? Just they just let it hang on their shoulders.
That's one of your major pet peeves, isn't it?
It is
you
a pet
really
peeve.
hate that.
Didn't your dad once do that? Yeah. So I was just laughing at him. I was like, what are you doing?
Well, you know, you can't just tie cashmere around the waist.
He has to show that he's rich. And that's how you do it, is by putting a jumper around your shoulders.
But this tennis fanatic guy, he was not hot.
Andy, no, he's not hot. And he's making moves on Kelly. He's like, come on, Kelly.
And Kelly's very pretty.
It's the party time soon. He's like, hey, but I heard you were going with Megan. She's the leader of the front. He's like, no way, man. I finished with Megan like yesterday. Now I want you. But she's not interested. She is not interested, to be fair.
What a surprise.
After being introduced to Andy, we are now introduced to Professor Pete, who's doing a kind of a dream sleep analysis.
Right.
Kind of thing. And he is kind of somewhat being stalked by Kelly, because a bit like the officer with Dr. Moriarty, she's impressed with his work and what he's going to be writing his thesis on, dreams and stuff like that.
Well, she was going to write something on that, and then he's like, oh, you've heard about my work, and then he finds out that she has her own like weird dreams and stuff, and now he's fascinated.
Yeah, so they end up doing dream therapy on her.
Yeah.
And the first session of dream therapy, she utters the words like, mother, father, mirrors. And she comes out the dream therapy and he's like, mirrors, parents, what could this be?
Yeah, and there is a running theme. Every time she sees a mirror, she like pauses and is like, and then moves on. So clearly she's got a thing about mother, father, mirrors.
So as I said, the professor's guy is called Pete, and he's like an older student, right? He must be, because she's just getting into the sorority. He's been there for a couple of years. She goes home, and her mother, Kelly's mother, is warning her off of Pete. She's like, I don't know him. I don't know what he's about. Don't want you hanging around with him anymore.
Right, but we find out why, obviously.
Of course, yeah. And while they're in the house, the dad, Clu Gudiger, he starts hearing noises. So he goes outside. They find nothing, but he decides, while I'm outside, I'm going to go and tend to my car. And as he's bent over, looking into his car, behind him, the camera's coming because the killer's there. And as Clu Gudiger turns around, it's a gardening fork. Plunged into his neck, and the camera like really hovers there. And Clu, God bless him, he really sells it. It was gruesome.
Goodbye, Clu.
Yeah, goodbye, Clu. Unfortunately, but that was a really good selling of pain by Clu Gudiger there, because they really linger on him. They even cut away and come back to him, and he's falling to his knees, kind of thing, with the fork
just
sticking
to really
out of his
hammer
neck.
that point home.
So what I can tell is then the killer has then stolen his car. He's going to shoot off to the sorority, clearly. So the killer drives there. The girls, after he's been offed, we're now back in the dorm. And the girls just walking around naked in the shower room together, showing off their bush and stuff, as sorority girls do, and girls who are 18, 17 years old in general do. They walk around naked together. That's what I've been shown by the movies.
You shouldn't have mentioned anything under 18, Johnny. Pervert.
Well, this is England. All the girls, once they get out of the shower, once they decide to put some clothes on, one of the girls is sitting at a desk, and because these are college chicks, they've got all their heroes, all their fancy men on the wall, and there's a giant poster of the one and only Magnum PI himself, Tom Selleck, the mustachioed hunk. This is what girls liked back in 1984, was mustachioed hunks with hairy chests, not Timothy Chalamet with his bum fluff tash.
Oh, yeah.
Not one pube.
I feel like all three of these movies actually had a lot of men with their shirts only done halfway. Yeah. That's a very John Cain style.
Medallion. Yeah, the producer from Fate of Black was also, when he was having it on the chat show, he had it all undone with the medallion.
The love rug out.
That's what you do. So now that the reason they're all hanging around naked together in the showers, because they're getting ready to party. Getting ready to party as you do. And Kelly is in her bedroom, kind of just milling about. And all of a sudden, Andy, the tennis guy, bursts out, dressed as what I can tell is an S&M Roman, and rugby tackles her onto the bed.
That's the way to get to a girl.
Not allowed to do that these days. Just bust into a girl's room who you're hoping to date, dressed as an S&M Roman.
He's also been watching her get changed and stuff before he's decided to make his presence known. So, yeah, what a pervert.
Yeah, when he comes out, he says to Kelly, I bet you don't know what I'm going to say. And she says, fuck you, because, I wasn't going to say that, but maybe. And she again accuses him of actually dating Megan. He's like, yeah, okay, I actually do have a date tonight. And in walks Megan, and she's like, what are you doing, Andy, on top of Kelly kind of thing. He's like, oh, nothing, just a bit of rape and pillaging. 1984. This is when, you made real movies. Megan's like, just get downstairs and wait for me in the car. You're driving me to the party. Party time. We've had the initiation, right? People are getting on it. Sorry, no, we had Hell Night, shall I say. People are getting on it. Now you've got the initiation. People are getting on it, which brings me to my true or false question for this week. Remember, I'll ask you a question. You will answer true or false. A true or false question.
Yeah.
True or false? False. Keir Starmer was the first English white man to get crunk on purple drank.
False.
You are correct. It is false. It's false. Keir Starmer was not the first English white man to get crunk on purple drank. It was, in fact, Ian Hislop.
Where do you get these stupid true or falses from? What is this? Anyway.
There's party time. There's a band. There's dancing. There's drinking. There's smoking. All that good stuff going on. And Professor Pete's there. And he, Kelly's been making her work towards him. But Alison is sitting on Professor Pete's lap. And she says, it's like I have abnormal sexual desires. If I don't get it every night, I'll die. She was one that was really excited about the Night Watchman being hung like a mule, apparently.
Well, again, part of the 80s charm is that your characters are very one-sided. If she is a sex freak nymphomaniac, then she is a sex freak nymphomaniac.
Make no bones about it. Kelly sees this,
anyone will do.
Walks over. To be fair to Professor Pete, he's not having it either. He's like, well, if you need it every night, you'll be going without sleep tonight then. Kelly is back in the room.
I'm pretty sure she can find someone.
So we've seen everyone boogieing. Everyone boogie-oogie-oogieing, right, to the band and stuff. But not everyone has made their way to the party. Because the Virgin Marsha, she's walking down the street with the one and only Ralph Bonner, dressed in a giant pink penis costume with balls and all. In fact, not just giant pink balls. They've also got brown string to signify pubic hair. So a lot of thought has gone into this giant pink shaft that he's come off. And as I said, his name is Ralph Bonner. Everyone calls him Ralph Boner. So that's why he's come as a giant boner.
Oh, he's like
what did you think about this?
Cool person in the world. Well, you know what? It's this one, but also, for example, Hell Night and every other American film where kids are dressing up for a party. It's always so committed. Like, is this real? Do Americans really have this much commitment and, go out and get the full...
Oh, yeah, they're full on. Yanks are full on.
Is that so? Because in
Big
England,
time.
if you've got a Halloween party...
It's half-assed, at
it's
best.
It's so half-assed. You'll get maybe one person committed and
but the thing
five people with no costume whatsoever.
In England, you'll see the one person who's committed and was like, get a load of this guy. But then again, I bet in England, if someone did show up as a big giant pink penis, that would go down quite well.
Oh, they'd love it.
They would love it, yeah.
Go to the rugby.
This was a great costume. This was an absolutely fantastic costume.
Shall I fashion you one?
It was, yes, yes, do it.
And shall I make a big vagina for myself? We can walk around as a pair.
Ooh, that'd be quite disturbing, I think. Yeah. So yeah, let's do it. So now that Marsha's making her way to the party with Ralph Boner himself, dressed as a giant boner, back inside... Andy, the tennis guy, is there. He's getting a pickle juice made up. They call it getting pickled. It's this green drink. And he's talking to his mate. And his mate goes to him, hey, later I'll show you this new dance move I made. It's called the body bag. Yeah, the body bag. What a scene. He's going to show... I've never been to a party where a dude's gone to me, hey, later on I'm going to show you this new dance move I've made. And then he tells me it's called the body bag. And then I react with enthusiasm. Like, yeah,
well,
the body bag.
Maybe, again, this is an American thing.
I actually fashioned my own dance move. It's called the Get Down and Hoof It. I'll show you that one later.
Yeah, get down and hoof it.
Exactly, yeah. Ralph Boner is now sitting inside and he's taken off, the helmet of his shaft. And he's sitting down talking to Marsha, having a beer. And there's this the wrinkly foreskin of the costume is all around his neck, and it's impressive because it looks really real. It's really wrinkly. It's really pink. It's really disgusting. I was disgusted by this wrinkly foreskin and just Ralph's head. And he's telling Marsha, he's like, hey, I heard there's a real vicious rumour going on about you around this place. Marsha's like, oh no, what now? He goes, that you're a virgin? And she's like, oh God, I can't go anywhere without being outed as a virgin. You know, it's really harsh on you in college life in America. I guess they're actually 21. Did they go to college at 21? They go a bit later than us, didn't they?
No, I think they go at the same time. From 18 up.
Not entirely sure about that. But anyway,
Sure.
Yeah, Ralph Boner's there talking to Marsha, and he's outed her once again as a virgin. So now, after the party's all finished, it's back to the dream therapy, and we get to see when Kelly was a little girl, and she sees this burning. We've already seen the scarred man, I wonder what's going on here kind of thing. And Kelly's mother, though, walks in during this session, and she's already warned Kelly to stay away from Pete. And the thing is, once the mother walks in, Pete can't wake her up. She's like, Kelly, when I say your name in 1, 2, 3, Kelly, whatever your surname is, Fairchild, you will wake up. But she's not responding. All of a sudden, the mother says, Randall. And she reacts to the name Randall for some reason. She runs out, Kelly runs out, has to get home, she's going to be told off. And then Pete is like, why did she react to the name Randall? So we've got mother, father, mirrors, Randall. Can he piece it all together?
And isn't it strange that her parents don't want to get her any professional help? And why is her mum so against her doing this dream therapy? Maybe there's something they don't want her to know.
She could be hiding something. You're certainly on something there, I think. It's finally time to get to the prank. Right, so we are shown the guard, the night watchman, walking around the shopping mall. Well, of course, this is 1980, so of course kids hang in the shopping mall, much like Chopping Mall.
It was quite a nice shopping mall, actually.
Yeah, I'm quite certain that this is probably the same one from Chopping Mall, which was the same one, I think, from Commando, if that's the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie with the shopping mall scene in it. Might have that slightly wrong. But yeah, it's been used a lot, basically. I think it's called, like, Mall of the Americas. Might have that wrong as well, who knows? It's just facts that I'm putting out there. Yeah, the only
Wisdom of John.
The only true fact to put out there was Keir Starmer was not, in fact, the first man to get crunk on this purple drink. Yeah, so we see him walking around by himself, but before the kids even get there, it's garden fork time for him. So he's dead before the kids even get there.
How are they supposed to get his uniform now?
Alison, Kelly, Marsha and Beth are now having like their final pep talk before this initiation with Megan. But Beth, at the last second, gets cold feet. She's like, this is going too far.
Stupid.
Yeah, this is stupid. And she runs off. So instead, it's Alison, Kelly and Marsha who will head to the shopping mall to do the deed. Which should be pretty easy because I think Kelly's mentioned, yeah, I've got the keys to everywhere, so I can literally just go and find a spare outfit. We don't have to get him naked. Alison's very, very disappointed in this.
Oh.
Because you won't see the hung mule. When the three pledges get there, unbeknownst to them, again, much like Hell Night, Megan has roped in the lads, Andy and Ralph Boner, and one other whose name I'm forgetting, to scare the living hell out of the girls, as she puts it. So they're going to get to work. Once we're into there, it's just time for a quick gratuitous breast shot of Alison, because why not?
Yeah, she just wants this t-shirt that's in the store, so why not?
No, everyone's going to get picked off, aren't they? This is what I've come to learn over the years.
It doesn't take much.
Megan is making out with tennis guy Andy on a pile of rugs. Getting off him on a pile of rugs. But as she teases him and like runs away, that's never a good idea, to run away in an empty shopping mall.
You know, there's a lot of sexual running away in a lot of the movies we watch.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever done that to you, like, ooh, chase me. Maybe that's missing from our lives, Johnny.
Yeah, but then what happens when I catch you?
Moving on.
Megan, yeah, so he's getting off. Of course, Andy goes running around looking for Megan, shouting out her name and all that, where he's now axed in the head. Nice slit in his skull there. He's offed. So now that he can't look for Megan anymore, Megan gets back and now she starts looking for him.
Yeah, I mean, she's like, well, I wanted you to chase me, but apparently it's worked way too well.
As she starts walking around by herself, she ends up getting arrowed. That's the end of her. The two guys, Ralph Boner and the other guy who's left, they end up scaring Kelly and Marsha in like these
Halloween
Halloween
masks.
masks. Yeah, they're super psyched with herself, man.
Yeah.
And it's such a good scare that even the girls are like, good one,
my
guys.
gosh.
You guys are so hot. Ralph
funny.
Boner, everybody. Yeah. So at the same time, you know, with all the clues that he's got, mom, dad, mirror, fire. Professor Pete's he's working it all out. And they found out that at the beginning of the movie, when we see the prologue of the man burning, it turns out that was actually Kelly's father who was lit up into flame, not the lover.
Yeah.
So then after he's put into flame, the rich family, the Fairchilds, they then have him committed.
Yeah.
That's why Scarred Faces man is there in the psych ward at the beginning.
Right.
And they now need to go and tell Kelly before it's too late. But that's not all.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's more, even more to it. You know, more than mummy and daddy. You know, because at one point we saw
more than mirrors.
We saw her, put under. She's just going, "Daddy, daddy."
Daddy.
Good stuff. So Pete's figuring it out. So he's trying to call Kelly's parents, but no one's picking up the phone.
Yeah.
And because he's somewhat of a doctor, or he's gonna be, he can't just divulge the information willy-nilly to everyone. He can only really tell it to Kelly. So now we're back, and we've got Marsha, Alison, Ralph, and the other lad. They're all now sitting around a table.
Yeah.
They're all making a pact. They're all making a cheers. And they say something like, to being young, staying young, and dying young, which seems like a stupid pact to me.
It is
It's
stupid.
kind of, it's also tempting fate, isn't it? We're seeing what's going on here. And they're all sitting around a table. And I believe it's Alison, the one who's impressed by hung men, who makes this toast. And all of a sudden, Marsha, who's like the virgin, considering what we've had in this movie, we've had a giant pink penis walking the streets. We had a giant pink penis at a party, stuff like this. All of a sudden,
giant pink penis.
Marsha just goes, "Alison, I don't know why you're always coming at me. You think you're so much better than me.
Yeah, this was weird.
For your information, I am not a virgin." And then it kind of like goes quiet for a minute. And she decides to then tell this story of a chubby-faced, clammy-hand music teacher who took her when she was 12.
Yeah, where was that coming from? And why has the tone suddenly changed?
Exactly! How can you go from a penis costume to this disgusting story for Marsha, who clearly hasn't had sex since because she's just been put off by the whole ordeal?
Yeah, well, it also just... I don't think it did anything to the story.
It doesn't. It doesn't add anything to the story. But I would say Marsha sells it really well. You know, for a scene which is completely out of left field in this movie.
Yeah,
she does a great job. But that's a gross story. And as talking like tonally, just switching, she then runs off upset. And I remember the other guy's name is Jack, who's sitting next to Alison. He's like, "Well, I gotta go to the bathroom." And Alison goes, "I'll help you find it." And he says, "I hope you're referring to the bathroom." Like, and that's they've just had this story. Like, this clammy hand, chubby faced music teacher, and they end it with that. And to continue the insanity, you know, of the story, Ralph then
Mr. Boner.
Ralph Boner senses the vulnerability in Marsha now, chases after her, finds her sitting down by a fountain in the shopping mall, comforts her, and he's in and he starts making out with her. Next thing you know, they're having sex. Because it's time to pounce. So they do it, and then they're talking afterwards. They're talking to each other. And she says something like, "Isn't it customary for kids our age to do it again?" And Ralph's like, "Yes!" And Ralphie jumps on top of her to go again. She hears a noise. He's like, "Oh, it's nothing." But then he gets arrowed in the back while he's on top of her. So again, this isn't going to do anything for her, is it?
I was going to say, this poor girl must
Poor
be
Marsha.
absolutely scarred. She's never going to have sex again.
No, I was like jaw on the floor at this point, because how can I expect this story after what's come before it, kind of thing. So now Jack, he's now in the bathroom. He's taking a whiz. The lights go out. He blames Alison. He complains that he's just pissed all down his leg. We don't really see him again, because instead Alison is wandering around the shopping mall, and she's in like a display, it's like a Christmas display, and someone falls out of the display, one of the dead bodies, and she's all crying, and she gets punctured multiple times. And Jack is just dead in the toilet.
He's gone.
That's where he ends up.
Oh, toilet death.
Alison then comes across Jack in the toilet, because he's clearly not hurt to turn the lights out. She runs out screaming. She runs into this like retail display, and a guy falls out of the retail display and things like this. And she runs into Kelly. So funny, Alison and Kelly are now together. What do they decide to do? Split up. What a dumb decision.
Yeah. What are they trying to do? Try and find some way to get out?
Yeah, just get the hell out of here. Yeah,
because obviously they don't have keys anymore.
No, and they're not even entirely sure who's dead and who's alive. They don't even know that Megan's in there and stuff like this. Who's dead? Didn't know that Andy was supposed to be in there. It's probably Andy that's fallen out of the tree and stuff like that in the Christmas display. Kelly then like runs off and she goes into the bathroom and she sees her name written in blood on the mirror. So you're thinking, why would someone specifically pick on Kelly and put her name in the mirror? Alison is now wandering around by herself because, as I said, they split up inexplicably, and she gets punctured multiple times by the gardening fork. Aww. And considering this is a garden fork, they've used it to good effect, I think.
Yeah.
The kills are good. I already mentioned the Clue Gouda one, which was the best one. We were getting him in the neck. Anytime this person is using a garden fork, it's gruesome. I never thought you'd get such a thing.
Like a mini pitchfork.
I thought it ended at the pitchfork, really, gardening tools. So now it's just Kelly and Marsha. So Kelly and Marsha start running around and screaming. They decide to hole up in an elevator, like a giant...
Right, and she stops it like mid-floor so no one can get them.
Exactly, so they're just going to stay here all night. But ain't going to work because up on the elevator shaft, someone's coming to get them. So they both...
You're going to be shafted.
You're going to be shafted. They give them the shaft, all right. So Kelly runs out of the shaft, leaves Marsha behind. She's about to get out, but she's pulled back in by this killer.
Yeah.
And we've got to imagine that that's got to be the end of Marsha. There's no way she's surviving that because she's lost her real virginity now. You can't have her surviving, can you?
Gross. I was going to say Kelly, though, at this point. Like, she's been very caring and your typical main girl. Mm-hmm. But at this point, like, she crawls out the elevator first and she just legs it. She's, like, not even trying. She even turns around and is like, oh, no, my friend. I was like, but, I mean... Maybe you should have helped her get out the elevator before you started legging it.
When Kelly emerges from this, she's wandering around the shopping centre again. And all of a sudden we see the scarred geezer with the garden fork wandering around in the shadows. She sees him. He's somewhat pursuing her silently. They go to the roof of the building. He's wandering around out there. He goes to the edge of the building. And she comes out with a pipe and just pipes him off the building, not knowing. And it's actually her father. Her father is the one that's been gone up in flame, as we mentioned.
And there's an even further twist, because not only is she off to her own father, her father wasn't even the culprit.
No, he's probably just trying to warn her, help her, but he's mute because he's burnt and stuff. When he falls off the building, Professor Peter's arrived as well, and he finds him, and he's like, Randall. Because he's worked that out now as well. He's working everything out along the way, so he knows that he's dead.
Mother, father,
mirrors. Peter then walks into the shopping mall. He instantly sees Kelly. He embraces her, but Kelly stabs him in the stomach. And as he pulls away, it's not Kelly. It's this other Kelly with no makeup, because real Kelly's over there with makeup. Fake Kelly has stabbed him with no makeup.
Turns out Kelly's got a twin sister.
This is the mirrors.
Oh my gosh. And actually, I think we might have misspoke earlier when I said, so burnt dad, he wasn't put in he was just incarcerated. And it must have been her twin sister who was in the mental asylum and who's escaped. So she must have been the one who set their dad on fire in the first place. And she says to Kelly, hey, you offed our dad. Like, you feel bad and stuff. Yeah.
So now Kelly's
a piece of work.
Running away from a doppelganger. Goes on for a little while until Mother Fairchild appears and blows away the fake Kelly. And also Professor Peter survived. So because he survived, Kelly survived, get the rolling credits with some really sensual music. Oh, it's sensual, baby.
Because what do you do when you survive a serial killer?
You get sensual. This is, again, another weird slice of third-tier 1980s slasher.
I enjoyed it, but
I did enjoy it.
I still would rather, if I'm going to watch a mall movie, it would be Chopping Mall.
Chopping Mall, yeah.
Yeah.
What with the laser, the laser robots, the killbots.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to
I
give it
love
that really
that movie.
stuck in my head.
It's got Barbara Crampton in it.
This one, even though I enjoyed it whilst we were watching it, I really struggled to remember any of it.
Is it
I even forgot we'd watched it for a second. I was like, oh wait, yeah, we did see that. And then I was trying to think of what actually happened in it, and it was like, I could tell you the plot, but...
I'm sick to the back teeth of your lack of professionalism. 3 good movies, 3 good slashes. I'd recommend them all, actually. I'd watch them all. But different. Yeah,
yeah, I don't know if I ever need to sit down and watch them again.
I need to watch Initiation
I
again
would maybe
for Ralph
watch-
Bono and his penis costume.
I would maybe watch Fade to Black again, actually.
Yeah, I think there's more to be taken from that film.
But yeah, it was kind of like my reaction when we did our, out of cinema reaction to Hokum. I was like, it was good, it was enjoyable, it was solid, but it's not like blown my mind. That's what I would say.
My mind was blown
By the penis.
by the penis costume and
the
especially
change in tone.
the hanging hair off the balls. Really sold it for me. Because without that, what is it? Really?
Well, it is the 80s. The bush was abounding.
Bush was there, tits were there, giant
I mean,
pink
sack bush.
testicles were there. Sack bush.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had it all. It was all bases were covered. So God bless the 1980s. God bless the slasher film.